This is the most haunted town in America, and if you dare to visit, you might see ghosts walking down the street or hear them crying in the night. The story of this ghost town dates back to 1962 when an underground coal mine was struck by a massive explosion. It killed 12 men and caused the entire town to be evacuated, but it wasn't for the reason you think. The explosion had ignited a seam of coal that stretched for miles underneath the city. And since then, it's been burning ever since. As you can imagine, this has caused a lot of problems for the town. Houses have started to collapse into sinkholes, streets have cracked and split apart, and poisonous gases have seeped into the ground. This also made the land basically uninhabitable, forcing everyone from the area to leave. Today, no one dares to set foot in the town. Not even emergency services or scientists will go near it because they believe it's too dangerous. And in some places, the ground is so unstable that it could literally collapse at any moment. But there are some who don't mind living in these abandoned towns. That's because they say it's the best place to live if you want to connect with spirits. That's because many of these abandoned buildings are said to be haunted, from houses to schools to hotels. There's all kinds of abandoned buildings here. So if you're looking for a new home and maybe want to make friends with a ghost, this is the place to do it. So here are 10 of the most haunted places in Centralia, starting with the abandoned school. If you look around the town, you'll notice a lot of the buildings are falling apart. Many have seen better days, like the old school building, which still stands strong. Well, kind of. You can see the roof caved in and the walls are covered in graffiti. Who knows what kind of curses and hexes these students put on the walls? After all, it's been rumored that this school is haunted by the ghosts of students and teachers alike. Some have even reported seeing ghostly apparitions walking through the halls and classrooms. To top it off, strange sounds have also been heard coming from inside, like footsteps, whispers, disembodied voices, and even laughter. If you walk around outside, you might even hear the sound of children playing. Sounds like fun, right? Well, maybe if you're the one playing. But for anyone else, this place looks like a nightmare. But let's move on to number 9, the abandoned library. Libraries are usually quiet and peaceful places where people go to relax and enjoy a good book, but not this one. Locals say this abandoned library is crawling with ghosts, including the spirit of an old man who sits in one of the chairs reading a book. Visitors have also reported hearing footsteps, whispers, and other strange noises throughout the building. One person even reported seeing a ghostly figure walking through the stacks of books, while another person saw a little girl in a Victorian nightgown standing at the top of the stairs. Now, this story does make sense. After all, libraries have always been said to be magical places full of stories and secrets. And who knows what kind of spirits linger between the pages of these books? Maybe they just want to share their love of reading with anyone who dares to enter the library after dark. Now we have to take a look at number 8, the abandoned mall. Malls are typically busy places full of shoppers and tourists, but this one is anything but. In fact, no one dares to set foot in this mall because it is said to be one of the most haunted places in town. People have reported seeing ghosts of shoppers wandering through the aisles and sitting on benches. They've also heard footsteps, voices, and even music echoing through the empty hallways. If you're brave enough to explore the food court, you might even see the ghost of a family eating dinner together or hear the sounds of children laughing and playing in the arcade. With all these spooky stories, it's no wonder why no one dares to visit this mall today. And now let's take a look at number 7, the abandoned church. Churches are typically places of peace and tranquility, but not this one. If you visit this abandoned church, you might hear the sound of a piano being played or see the ghost of a family sitting in the pews. One man even reported seeing a ghostly figure standing at the altar as if preparing to deliver a sermon. Other visitors have reported hearing footsteps, voices, and even singing coming from inside the church. Some believe that the spirits of those who worshipped here so long ago are simply trying to stay connected to their former place of worship. Whatever the case may be, this church is definitely a place to avoid if you don't want to make any unwanted supernatural friends. Now we have to talk about No. 6, the abandoned hospital. Hospitals are typically places of healing and recovery, but not this one. This abandoned hospital is one of the most haunted places in town, and visitors have reported seeing ghosts of patients and staff members wandering through the halls. One woman even reported seeing the ghost of a little girl in a Victorian nightgown standing at the end of her bed. Others have heard footsteps, voices, and even screams echoing through the empty corridors. Some believe that the spirits of those who died here are simply trying to find peace. Whatever the case may be, this hospital is definitely a place to avoid if you're afraid of the paranormal. Now let's take a look at No. 5, the abandoned train station. Train stations are typically bustling places full of travelers and tourists, but not this one. This abandoned train station is one of the most haunted places in town, and visitors have reported seeing the ghosts of passengers and crew members wandering through the platform. One man even reported seeing the ghost of a train conductor standing at the ticket window as if waiting for his next assignment. Others have heard the sound of a train whistle blowing or seen the apparition of a locomotive steaming through the mist. Some believe that the spirits of those who died here are simply trying to find their way home. Whatever the case may be, this train station is definitely a place to avoid if you don't want to end up on a ghost train to nowhere. Moving along, we have to talk about No. 4, the abandoned gas station. Gas stations are typically places where people go to fill up their cars and get on with their day, but not this one. This abandoned gas station is one of the most haunted places in town, and visitors have reported seeing the ghosts of customers and employees pumping gas or sitting in the waiting room. One woman even reported seeing the ghost of a man being served at the counter as if nothing had changed here in decades. Others have heard the sound of a cash register ringing up a cell or seen the shadow of a car pulling into the station. Some believe that the spirits of those who died here are simply trying to get one last fill up before moving on. Whatever the case may be, this gas station is definitely a place to avoid if you don't want to end up stuck in a time warp. Next, we need to discuss No. 3, the haunted house on Locust Street. This house is considered to be one of the most haunted homes in Centralia, and visitors have reported seeing the ghost of a family sitting on the porch or walking through the rooms inside. One man even reported seeing the ghost of a little girl dressed in a Victorian nightgown standing at the window, as if watching the street below. Others have heard footsteps, voices, and even music coming from inside the house. Some believe that the spirits of those who died here are simply trying to stay close to the place they once called home. Whatever the case may be, this house is definitely a place to avoid if you don't want to end up spending the night with some unexpected guests. Now we have to talk about No. 2, the abandoned hotel. Hotels are typically places where people go to relax and enjoy a comfortable stay, but not this one. This abandoned hotel is one of the most haunted places in town, and visitors have reported seeing the ghosts of guests and staff members wandering through the halls. One man even reported seeing the ghost of a woman standing at the front desk as if checking in a no arrival. Others have heard footsteps, voices, and even music echoing through the empty corridors. Some believe that the spirits of those who died here are simply trying to find their way to the afterlife. Whatever the case may be, this hotel is definitely a place to avoid if you don't want to end up sharing a room with an unwanted spirit. Finally, we have to talk about No. 1, the burning ground. This is the site of the original explosion that started the fire beneath the city. And it's also considered to be the most haunted place in all of Centralia. People who have visited this site have reported seeing ghostly figures wandering through the flames or standing at the edge of the fire as if watching it burn. One man even reported seeing the ghost of a miner holding a lantern as he walked along the path. Others have heard footsteps, voices, and even screams coming from the fire. Some believe that the spirits of those who died in the explosion are simply trying to find peace. Whatever the case may be, this is definitely a place to avoid if you don't want to get burned by more than just fire. That's all for now.